Hello, Book 2. I've got a two-package mail haul here. Nice small mail haul. Something to stem the tide of 45-minute videos that I've been subjecting you to over the last few days. So we'll just do these two packages. We'll offer some brief, pithy comments, and we'll be on our way. So let's see what this first one is. Nice big thing, whatever it is. What have we got here? Oh my. Oh, very good. This is another very intriguing looking thing from Basic Books. Does it have a sheet in it at all? No, it doesn't. Okay, well, that doesn't matter. This comes out in early November, and it is by Fernanda Pirier, and it's The Rule of Laws, a 4,000-year quest to order the world. The Rule of Laws. Rulers throughout history have used laws to impose order. Rulers throughout history have used laws to codify what they consider order to be. The laws don't impose order. It's the police who impose order. You make just a book just this size on the police. But laws were not simply instruments of power and social control. They offered ordinary people a way to express their diverse visions for a better world. In this book, Oxford scholar Fernanda Pirier traces the rise and fall of the sophisticated legal systems underpinning ancient empires and religious traditions, while also showing how common people, tribal assemblies, merchants, farmers, called on laws to define their communities, regulate trade, and build civilization. Although legal principles originating in Western Europe now seem to dominate the globe, the variety of the world's laws has long been almost as great as the variety of its societies. What truly unites human beings, the author argues, is our very faith that laws can produce justice, combat oppression, and create order from chaos. Okay, so obviously you can tell from that description that this is not just going to be a dry history. This is going to be, that description is shot through with the author's own opinions, the author's own organizing opinions of the subject. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'm in favor of bringing a whole lot more Herodotean opinionizing into history as long as you can back it up, as long as you can make a case. It's quite different from the kind of opinionizing that a bigoted blowhard like Bill O'Reilly will do in what nominally he calls a work of history. I'm talking about if you can make a case and back it up, and if you're willing to consider other alternatives, then I'm perfectly happy to have you sort of putting your thumb on the scale when it comes to sober description of the facts. But who is the author? The author's got to be involved in law. Yes, a professor of anthropology of law at the University of Oxford, and who is the author of a book called The Anthropology of Law, and has conducted field work in the mountains of Ladakh and the grasslands of eastern Tibet. And she previously spent almost a decade practicing as a barrister, sorry, not a barista, a barrister, like Rumpole, at the London Bar. Okay, fantastic. Well, this is an advanced copy, so I don't know what we're going to have here in the way of... Okay, there's a bibliography. Oh, and there are notes as well, and they're both extensive. Okay, great. Well, the potential drawbacks to a thing like this in early November are twofold. One is the one we've already mentioned. The author clearly has a vision. She has a personal conviction about what law is and what it has been in the course of history. If you radically disagree with that personal vision, like for instance, if you say the laws have always been exactly what the author says they're not, a means of oppression, then this is going to be, you're going to notice the polemical aspects of this thing. That doesn't sink the ship at all. And the other potential drawback is that this is 576 pages. For a subject that has routinely created 1,576 pages just for the laws of England. So, as with any survey that spans all of time and all of the world, if you're familiar with the subject, you may notice as much what's not in here as what is. Either way, ambitious surveys like this, especially if they're ideology-driven, I love them. Absolutely love them. I don't know if I'll love this one. The author might not actually convince me of anything, but fantastic. Fantastic. All right, we start off just great. As far as nonfiction goes, we start off just great. Then we'll do this next package, and then we'll be done in a nice, expeditious manner. No 45-minute videos that just go on and on and on and on. What is this next one? Okay, this next one is a novel. All right, so we're doing one nonfiction and one fiction. Once again, no pub sheet. But this comes out in January. This comes out in 2022. This is All Day is a Long Time. This is a novel by David Sanchez. And this is the cover. We've got an ocean scene, and what your eye naturally fills in is the sun setting on that ocean, but it's actually the whole sun. So All Day is a Long Time. What have we got here? The back of the book says that this is for fans of Dennis Johnson and Ocean Vuong. A captivating, searing, and ultimately redemptive debut novel. I love debut novels. Fantastic. Okay, great. About coming of age on Florida's drug-riddled Gulf Coast and the enigmatic connection between memory and self. David has a mind that never stops running. Okay, so it's a debut novel, but the main character and the author are both called David. Stands to reason in 2021 that this is going to be explicitly autofiction, that every single thing in it will be verifiable, corroboratable on the author's Facebook, on the Facebook of his friends, on the Twitter of his friends. I have a hard time with that, as I've made clear on this channel. I have a hard time with that because that is not in any functional way fiction. And I'm not willing to say, to cede the same ground that Merriam-Webster's dictionary did with, for instance, literally. With the word literally, where Merriam-Webster recently changed the definition of the word to include figuratively. In other words, the word has no meaning at all. I'm not willing to do that with the term novel. But well, let's see what we have here. David has a mind that never stops running. He spends hours in the library reading Dante and Moby Dick, losing himself in chemistry and philosophy. But on Florida's Gulf Coast, one can slip into deep water unconsciously. At the age of 14, David runs away from home to pursue a girl, and on his journey, tries crack cocaine for the first time. Let's hope this isn't autobiographical, because that's a downward spiral. There's no matter what, probably 300 people embark on that journey. 300 young people embark on that journey in America every year. And they all think the same thing at the beginning. They all think this is, I'm riding on the back of a baker's dozen other drug addictions of one kind or another. One more won't matter, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. And there's no way to do it. It's just a downward spiral. He's hooked instantly. Over the course of the next decade, he fights his way out of jail and rehab, trying to make sense of the world around him, a sunken world where faith in anything is a privilege. That's rather good. Where faith in anything is a privilege. That's rather good. He makes his way to a tenuous sobriety, but it isn't until he takes a literature class at a community college that something within him ignites. All Day is a Long Time is a spectacular, raw account of growing up and managing against every expectation to carve out a place for hope. I'm starting to like this book. We see what it means and what it takes to come back from a place of little control, to map ourselves on the world around and beyond us. David Sanchez's debut novel resounds with real force and demonstrates the redemptive power of the written word. Okay. What have we got for David Sanchez? Who is he when he's at home? He's the recipient of a James A. Michener Creative Writing Fellowship at the University of Miami, a PEN America Writing for Justice Fellowship, and a Tin House Scholarship in 2018. All right, so what that means, whether you know anything about those fellowships or not, is that his work has impressed people who are willing to put their money where their mouth is. His work has impressed a lot. His name is totally unknown to me. But I think the point of those mentions being in his author bio is to let you know he's not totally unknown to everybody. All Day is a Long Time is his first novel. He lives in Tampa, Florida. Okay, this comes out in January, so of course I won't be getting to it in 2021. But those of you who have the same hunger that I do for debut novels, I just love them. I'm willing to grant them a lot of leeway, and I always view them as kind of a handicapping sheet for what might happen to the author. I know that's not realistic, because the element that's not in a debut novel is wherewithal. And that can often be everything. That in a writing career, especially a fiction writing career, that can often be everything. Wherewithal. I've lost count of how many debut novels I've read, thought that was terrific, and never hear from the author again, because they don't have wherewithal. because maybe the process disillusioned them, or maybe they only had that one book in them. I try not to get my hopes up, but when a debut novel is really good, I always do. So we'll see if I do with this, but we won't see anytime soon. We won't say until January 22nd. So All Day is a long time. A debut novel set on Florida's Drug Coast. Any of you who know that area might want to put this thing in your long-range radar. And The Rule of Laws. A history of what laws actually mean to people. Not just to governments, but to people. What do they actually mean? Not their technicalities, but their role, it sounds like. Their role in our lives and in our societies. This one does come out this year, so I'll be able to get to it. But neither one of them right away. No finished copies today. So often I say that my mail hauls, even small mail hauls, they all have the power to reshape my TBR immediately. If I get a finished copy that has a pub date 2 days from now, that I haven't read, or that I want to reread, then my TBR has changed. has changed in the course of the mail haul. But not today. These are both down the line. But they might be of interest to you. If they are, feel free to jot them down. But notice we're at the 11-minute mark. I'm looking at the clock. It's the 11-minute mark. That's plenty. That's plenty. Instead of 40 minutes here, and then 40 minutes here, and then 40 minutes here, Amakai and I on his own channel went for an hour yesterday. I'm going to wrap this up instead, and I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.